there, rookie. Welcome to Madden NFL 23. Before we get you out on the field, let's customize your game to fit you, from your experience level and favorite team, all the way through your play style and accessibility options. And don't worry, if you ever feel like switching it up, you can always change accessibility settings.
Entering settings screen, you have 19 options.
Accessibility settings.
Option is set to off is selected.
One shot, movie, that's all you need. One shot, who me? Take that, ooh-wee. One shot, movie, that's all you need. One shot for everybody living in the moment. One shot is all you get, so you gotta own it. One shot, you only get one shot. One shot for everybody living in the moment. One shot is all you get, so you gotta own it. One shot, you only get one shot. One shot.
This is a special presentation of EA Sports from the Coliseum in Oakland. Our tribute to the coach, the John Madden. One time for old times. What do you say we play some football as we are underway from Oakland in the John Madden Legacy game? No run back here on the opening kickoff as we'll start at the 25. So it's the NFC Stars who will get the ball first. And Charles, as we alluded to, we've got a different era of coach on each sideline. So the man coaching this NFC squad, we'll call him Young John Madden. This is a coach who was trying to establish a foothold in the NFL and on the cusp of doing it very successfully.
Yeah, you think back to that period, those early days as the coach of the Raiders, the late 60s in the AFL, and then in the NFL in the early 70s. Coach was a guy who was ahead of his time. The Raiders were one of the first teams to have mini camps, one of the first to film practice, because he wanted to practice coaching as much as he could. And his teams, they were successful right from the start of his head coaching tenure.
Here's Favre to throw. That'll be caught by Rice. And they're able to work this across midfield to the 48. So as we mentioned at the top, let's take you through the life of John Madden. And you know, it's very fitting that we're here back in the Bay Area, not just because John's so associated with Raider football, but also because this was where he spent his formative years.
Yeah, he grew up over Daly City with his buddy John Robinson, who would also become an NFL head coach. He played his high school ball at Jefferson High, eventually wound up playing tackle at the University of Oregon, and later Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. Played well enough that in 1958, he was a 21st round draft pick of the Philadelphia Eagles. That's right, the draft had 30 rounds then.
And he'll be brought down just shy of the 40. But Charles, you mentioned Coach was a 21st round draft pick back in 1958. Was the Philadelphia Eagles who selected him. But unfortunately for John, knee problems, they just continued to dog him. He was hurt in his first training camp. Actually never saw the field as a player in the NFL. But it was still during his time with the Eagles. You and I were talking about this before going on air, that you could start to see the light bulb going on for what his career path might entail.
And it went on in a big way, didn't it? Because while he was rehabbing his knee, he started to spend a lot of time breaking down film with the Eagles with quarterback Norm Van Brocklin, the future Hall of Famer and future head coach in the NFL. Remember, Norm Van Brocklin coached with the Falcons. He coached with the Vikings. And it was there during that time, I think Coach Madden realized his love of football and love for teaching, combining all that together, and that meant being a football coach. So in 1960, began his coaching career at a small college south of San Luis Obispo called Allen Hancock, and then later at San Diego State University under another legendary coach, the guy who could throw it around pretty well, Don Coryell.
He is taken down at the 21 after a short gain of 2. Well, Charles, you know, it was in the early 1960s that a young John Madden made the acquaintance of the owner of the Oakland Raiders, one Al Davis, of course, and the two, they really bonded, would become one of the best owner-coach duos in NFL history. And to take it a step further, Al Davis became someone who John referred to as his best friend.
Yeah, 1967, Brandon. Al Davis hired Coach Madden to be a linebackers coach. Remember, this was still the AFL at that point. We had not merged totally with the NFL. And Coach Madden, he paid dividends almost immediately. Helped the Raiders win the AFL title in 1968. And that meant a date with the Green Bay Packers in what was now known as Super Bowl II. But by 1969, at the age of 32, just 32, Brandon, John Madden assumed the mantle of head coach of the Oakland Raiders. And what a ride he, the Raiders, and the NFL were about to go on.
On second and goal, here's the option. And he'll go backwards, losing yardage to the 5. It'll be a loss of a full 3 yards there, and it also brings up third down. Driven it down the field nicely here on the opening drive, and now it's put up or shut up.
No doubt about it, because to make that type of a drive and ultimately kick a field goal would feel very disappointing. But I'm just wondering, is the head coach thinking, is this 4-down territory? Might he go for it?
To the goal line, but it's incomplete.
Not only did he have a chance to scan the field there, it felt like he had a chance to scan it twice. The protection was that good. Unfortunately for him, the coverage downfield, equally good.
The Hall of Famer's kick is good, and the NFC out to an early 3-0 lead. So a long drive gets him down inside the 5, but ultimately they settle for just the field goal.
And I have to think that if maybe they were a yard closer, that would have made their decision tougher, and I think they likely would have gone for it. But in this situation, they just decided to take the 3, and I think it was a smart move.
And out a little across the 25 to the 27. So, Charles, as mentioned, we've got another Coach Madden over here on the AFC sideline. Of course, his Raiders, members of the AFC West. So this is a conference he battled in for his entire career. And you think about the landscape of the NFL as he was getting into the back half of his tenure. It was a golden era for coaches. You had Don Shula, Tom Landry, Chuck Noll, Bud Grant. But it was John Madden who had the best winning percentage of them all, CD. 759, the best ever.
Brandon, it's hard to believe he could be so successful in the conference with all those great teams. The Steelers won 4 Super Bowls. The Dolphins won 2 and were a mainstay in the playoffs. The Colts were tough. The Broncos came on late and went to a Super Bowl themselves. But against Hall of Fame coaches, John Madden's record, 36, 16, and 2. That's pretty incredible. His Raiders were a factor each and every year.
Brady's throw complete here to his receiver, Brown. Back-to-back receptions for him, and it's another first down. 2 minutes remain here, the first half of the John Madden Legacy game. We'll be back. So 1st and 10 now from the 30. Brady to throw again. Throw left side complete. That's Brown. And he's going to be brought down at about the 16. So the ball down to the 16 here for 1st and 10. Into the red zone, it's Brady. And this one nearly picked off. Well, kind of surprising to see a defender of his caliber let it get away, but get away it does, and it's 2nd down. He finds his man, complete. That's Gonzalez. And he's going to be marked down just outside the 10.
Let's not quibble about the gain there on 2nd down. That was a positive play because that was a take-what-you-can-get situation. Got out to the tight end. Now it gives him much better opportunity to convert on 3rd down.
Oh, not sure he saw the linebacker there as that's batted down and incomplete.
What an excellent defensive stand there in the red zone. Nice tight coverage. They certainly recognized how important it was to bring up 4th down here.
Over the middle, complete. That's Gonzalez. Touchdown! Tony Gonzalez. An 11-yard touchdown. And the AFC has taken the lead. They took a pretty big risk right there, going for it on 4th down. But, hey, not only did they get the first down, forget about that, they got in the end zone.
Yeah, because normally you're just thinking, can I get enough yardage to get it past the sticks and pick up a 1st down? Instead, they go for the end zone and get it done with no margin for error. Remember, 4th down, they went for it.
And he'll get into the end zone to make it a 5-point game. And around the goal line, especially on two-point tries, sometimes the QB's best friend is that big target, the tight end.
I love how you described it because you know he's going to have some length and some catch radius as well as a big body to keep people away from the football.